Hey everyone, I'm Aaron Lycourt, Chief RSO at the Gun Range in Killeen, and this is Jack Greenwell, GM and Armor.
Today we're going to be talking about firearm safety. We're going to start with three main safety rules, and then we're going to go into some other safety rules, and at the end we'll just have some candid conversation about some common gun safety pro tips and anything we can do to keep the average shooter that comes into our range safer. Stick with us as we go over these important safety tips and rules. All right, we're here talking today about firearm safety. Obviously very important. We're going to be talking about some basic handgun rules for use and storage. The first three we're going to talk about are going to be kind of the big three. Once we get through those, we'll go through some others, and we'll have some conversation at the end about some other safety tips from our experience over the years, both at the gun range and through our military careers, as we are both military veterans. So the first one being, we'll jump right into it, keep the gun pointed in a safe direction. And by that we mean anytime we're holding this, we are going to imagine there is a red hot laser pointed out the end of this gun, and anything we cross is getting cut with it. So we're going to, obviously I'm not going to point it at myself, I'm not going to point it at my friend. No matter how many times we've checked to make sure it's unloaded, we're just going to assume that it is loaded. And
Number two, keep your finger off the trigger. That is the biggest thing that a lot of people do. That's a huge mistake. For some reason, the first thing they do is when they grab a gun, immediately they put their finger in there and just don't even think twice about it. Other times they do it is when they reload. Worst thing you do. Don't reload with you're asking for a negligent discharge.
So, and what we're talking about here is we want to keep our finger completely out of the trigger guard, up high on the frame or all the way down below. And we'll go into depth more on that a little bit later here. The last one, keep the gun unloaded until you're ready to use it. And we're talking about completely cleared and empty. If you're unfamiliar with how to do that, Aaron, if you could hand me that magazine, please.
Empty?
Yep, we have an empty magazine, we have an empty gun. Say if I walked up on this firearm and I do not know that this is an empty gun. I look at this gun, I know that Glock does have the loaded chamber indicating extractor, but we're not going to trust that because you never know.
Things fail.
Yeah, things, safeties fail. So we are the final safety in all cases. So the first thing I'm going to do if I was going to clear this weapon, I'm going to hit our magazine release, drop the magazine. With my finger out of the trigger guard still, I'm going to pull the slide to the rear. In this case, I'm going to hold my thumb on the slide lock in the upward position to lock this to the rear. This allows us to visually inspect the chamber very easily. It also allows anyone watching to look at this and see that this is a cleared weapon very easily without having to touch it, handle it, anything like that. But again, throughout the entire process, we're going to keep our finger off the trigger. So those are the three big gun safety rules. The big reason that I teach those rules over and over and over again is you could actually mess up on 2 out of 3 of those and still not hurt or kill anyone. Obviously, I'm not advocating that you forget any of the safety rules at any time, but for someone to get injured or killed, all 3 safety rules have to be broken at the same time. If you have a loaded firearm, you have your finger on the trigger, you have a negligent discharge, but it was pointed in a safe direction, it's embarrassing. There's a very real possibility you're going to be charged with a crime if it's in certain areas, but no one got hurt or killed. You have a gun pointed in an unsafe direction, it's completely unloaded, and you have your finger on the trigger. As long as you have truly maintained that firearm is unloaded, yes, you have committed a kind of a safety faux pas. It's embarrassing. All the guys that are experienced with firearms and firearm safety are probably going to look at you funny, but you didn't kill anybody. So all of these rules work together as kind of a multi-layer safety net to keep anything from happening, whether or not you're on the range or not on the range. Aaron, did you want to go ahead and add?
I mean, I've seen all these rules broken in every combination possible, especially in competition. A lot of guys actually will try to mag change with the finger in the trigger, and they'll have a negligent discharge as they're changing mags. Definitely get disqualified, definitely an embarrassing moment, but also take it as a learning moment. Don't do it again. Always try to avoid, honestly, if you're having trouble remembering them, just don't point a loaded gun anywhere. Just keep it on the table and have somebody teach you.
These are really a great set of rules to over and over and over again recite them in your head, look them over, have a postcard in your house or in your wallet. These are three rules that anyone who works here at the range should be able to recite all three of those safety rules very easily. It's part of our range safety officer course. I know I'm a chief range safety officer. Aaron is the chief range safety officer for the range. So we instruct range safety officers. These are three rules that everyone on the range is responsible for. So at any time you're here, obviously you're going to be asked to follow those rules, and they are part of our policy here at the gun range.